Here we go, round number 1. This is a best of 2. Each map is first to 7. If they tie at round 12, which would be 6 apiece, we will go into a 3-round overtime. The winner of that, or the winner of that best of 3 overtime, will take the map. So there will be no tie on the map, but you can tie the game again, as it is a best of 2 map. We also have the, of course, 6-round role rotation. So they will be playing 6 in this configuration, with Nemesis on defense and Reciprocity on attack before they switch over. And of course, lastly, there is no Lion, and just like we spoke about earlier, only 1 shield allowed. However, we will not see a shield on this first attack here by Nemesis.
We will also see no hide nor hair of either Kaid nor Nomad, which is pretty interesting. We've sort of heard a bunch of pro players, coaches, analysts, everyone basically talking about how Nomad is incredibly strong right now, but it hasn't been banned, and so far it's not been played either, so it's possible that Nemesis just haven't really set up their strats with it yet. They haven't experimented with it and scrimmed with it enough. Or there is just, for some reason, they don't really feel like it's very needed. This first site is Armory, of course, and the roam game is pretty linear, so you can generally roam clear pretty well without the use of a Nomad, and that might be why they decided not to take it. But even then, Nomad in a post-plant scenario is fantastic, so it's a very interesting decision there. It looks like Fox A is really the only one that Nemesis will have to try to weed out of the CCTV room.
Yeah, a post-plant scenario, also the ability to watch your flank, right? Not have to actually put a warm body, but make them at the very least, shoot the charge in order to get by. But we'll not be seeing any of that. And thanks for mentioning that the new ops are allowed, as Fox A will open things up with a nice run out. And goodbye, Thatcher. No utility on his end deployed. Laxing also running around. A lot of motion on East Stairs here for the defenders. And Laxing, what? Just gunned out poor Buck versus that ACOG and still somehow won it out.
Still won it out, and now they're trying to search for Laxing. So not only did he get the first kill, but he's also buying some time for the defense, killing a little bit of extra time as much as he can. And honestly, the longer this round goes on, the better it is for the defense. And Can gets 1 frag, but Mark trades it back and gets a second on top of it. Mort with the last member alive for his team. He manages to pick off 1, but he is getting gunned at from all angles and even through the wall. Laxing is just waiting here too. He gets down and immediately gets taken out by Mort. That's pretty good.
Wow. Reciprocity just kind of going bananas, assuming their dominance on top of Nemesis, saying, listen, you can't come in to this matchup and think that you're going to have a chance, and we're just going to play crazy. First of all, of course, Pro League now going on. They're going to save strats. We know all of that, but if you give them the ability to be that aggressive and you end up not being able to do refrags, then they're just going to continue doing that all day because it's going to work. And usually you see the opposite of what we see happening now, which is you see usually the younger teams getting more aggro onto the more established meta teams like a Pro or Challenger League team who just kind of play it a certain way, not quote-unquote ranked style. Right now we're seeing this completely turn around, and Reciprocity is the one running out all over the place. Remember, folks, unlike ESL rules in CCS, as long as the attacker has had an opportunity to move in the spawn one way or the other, they are fair game to be picked via a run out or a peek. So Reciprocity using that rule to its full potential to open things up. Mark getting a couple of kills last round as well. Retro cleaning it up, and just a fantastic straight up gun game job by Team Reciprocity to start things off here on Border.
Yeah, just showing off their gun skills, really. They didn't need much else other than that, because Nemesis just didn't really seem like they were they had too much of a plan going into it in terms of roam clear or anything like that. But overall, I think Nemesis, the first thing that they have to work on is getting those refrags, because we saw there was only 1, maybe 2 refrags that entire round. And That's basically the name of the game. When a roamer goes up and kills an attacker, you absolutely need to trade it out. If he gets two, or if he even gets away, we saw what happened before where Laxing got one pick, he backed off, and he just started to kill time. And that entire time, Nemesis were trying to push forward, but they were like, oh, I don't know, there's an alibi behind us. We need to watch out for that too. And so you're just putting so much pressure on the attackers. And that's why it's so important to get the refrags when you are Nemesis.
Yeah, Fox will attempt to find something east stairs, but now look at the effects that round one have had on Nemesis. They're all stacked up, very slow to leave spawn. Already 40 seconds off the clock. They were all together. And, excuse me? The diffuser going down now. Some grenades coming out. Fox will find one. And, oh, that will be a kill by Mort. The diffuser goes down. Can will nade Mort. Unfortunate, but the diffuser is down, so a retake situation is underway. Now that soft wall is there, available to the bandit. He'll try and poke a hole. Won't see anybody. Jaeger fighting with Bathroom. Buck will find one. And Retro will refrag immediately. 2 versus 3. The diffuser not being handled, though, as Jaeger just kind of peeks back and forth into Bathroom, fighting it out with Mizio. Buck will find one, 2v2. And a lot of action going. Mizio will find the last two, and the attackers a swift comeback. And, you know, I was kind of poking fun at the fact that they were all bunched up and slow, but it ended up working out great. They just all stuck together, ran in, poked a little hole in Bathroom, snuck in, planted, and that was just about it.
Yeah, that was a really interesting play, and I like the idea from Nemesis, because if there's anything that would catch Reciprocity off guard, it's a play like this. You know, generally, I think a lot of pro league teams are going to have this sort of similar deal going on where they play the top floor, they play in Armory, and they try to keep control of the site from upstairs. But for the most part, for the past year and a half, maybe even more, the attackers have tried to flush them out of the top side. And the fact that Nemesis didn't, and they just went straight into the site and planted immediately, definitely caught Reciprocity off guard. And I think Reciprocity were just not it's sort of weird to say, but sort of forgot how to play upstairs in the way that you deny space downstairs. So that's the whole point of upstairs was originally to deny people from getting forward on the site in downstairs, but they just didn't seem to have the proper angles covered. So even though they had full control of the Armory, they didn't have any angles to shoot down on the entrances. Immediate what is the word I'm looking for? Immediate adaptation. There we go. Immediate adaptation from Reciprocity, bringing a castle and boarding up pretty much every possible rush location there is. So I really like that already.
Yeah, it was a aggressive play round one that paid off in dividends for Reciprocity. Nemesis reacting, and now Reciprocity seemingly reacting. This could turn out to be a darn good match if we keep seeing, you know, smart plays like this. I love what I've seen so far. Now we'll have 2 downstairs. The rest of Reciprocity will be on rotation again. All the attacking squad kind of sticking together, this time pushing from the west side. Mark will hear some things nearby. He'll decide to open another little peek hole. Nobody will dare jump in the window quite yet, but look at that! Right in the sight. Hose will find one. Hopes with the refrag, and I hope I'm saying that right. Hose. Can will find 1 and 2. With the buck, the diffuser will go down easily, but here comes Fox down main stairs. A lot of action going back and forth. Retro kind of hanging out, waiting. Fox with the flush out will find one. Can will find his third, though. Now, Retro, the only one kind of nearby. Can will go. He'll see Retro make the shots, but no! He was just too low. He'll get Retro to just a smidge of health, but finally gets shut down. Again, the diffuser is down. Only a castle with about 5 health sits in between them and the win. So he will throw some pop shots back and forth. A lot of low players. Ash full health, playing that front door. Castle will attempt the long arm. He won't get it, and will have to challenge that front door. More easy cleanup there, and Can the butt, 3K, and the plant will bring Nemesis 2 straight.
Yeah, and these sort of rounds are the kind of rounds that are really frustrating to play against when you are the defense. Because not only is it a style that you're not used to, people throw around Rank Star a lot, and while it sort of is, there is actually more cohesion in Nemesis than there is in like your general Rank Star game, because they aren't just going and getting frags. they're rushing a site in a sort of coordinated fashion. Like they actually used their drones during the preparation phase to scout everything out and say, all right, they put castle barricades all over bathroom. They put them near offices. They put them basically everywhere except the front door. So let's rush the front door instead. And I think it was good heads up play by Nemesis to realize where those defensive fortifications were and basically rush wherever they weren't. And I really like that. In Reciprocity, they're going to have to figure out how to combat this. They're going back upstairs, which worked for them really well the first time. But we'll see if this sort of heavy aggression from Nemesis has shaken us.
Absolutely. Now, the thing about the last time they were upstairs, well, the attackers, I don't even think, made it into the building. And if they did, not very far, definitely nowhere near sight. So the setup that they had for last time, there's nothing really to work off of because the aggression from them worked out. Ever since then, Nemesis has changed it up, and they've stuck together as a group. They haven't been spreading out. And why do you do that, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you why. So, if one of your teammates goes down, you have the ability to immediately refrag, right? Here we see the sledge now, and by the way, it's not hose like a garden hose, it's haze. Here comes Foxy with the peek out, but they were ready for it, although IQ will take some damage. So about 50 health removed from 2 players, 1 on each side. A very even damage count so far, but a good amount of time wasted as 30 seconds has gone by. No progression into the building yet here for the attackers.
Buck is unfortunately not playing Buck. That is Can's job in this respect right now. But we will see a couple of... So Nemesis, they managed to get into the building this time, but Foxay gets Haze right off the bat with a headshot, long-range headshot it looks like as well. And he's going to be able to play downstairs, which is pretty important because a lot of teams like to... They like to basically go in through the front entrance, look up, and destroy the mute jammers through the wall. And it doesn't actually look like there are mute jammers on the armory wall right now. So, but on the other hand, there's no hard breach for the side of Nemesis, so they can't even get the wall open if they wanted. But Mort and Can immediately getting 2 frags, 1 apiece. That leaves us down to a 4v3. Foxay kills Mizio, leaves it with a 3v3. And the health is pretty similar on both sides.
Yeah, so no hard breach. I'm not sure what they were thinking. Again, that sledge that we saw break off at the beginning will absolutely pay for his lonesomeness. Buck will get another kill here onto Foxay after Foxay getting the opening 2 kills here for Reciprocity. Some shots going back and forth, but this pinch point could prove problemful. Is that even a word?
Problematic.
Problematic. Thank you. Laxing will get one. It will prove problematic for Nemesis later on, and there it is. Laxing, easy choke point. A couple of barrels pointed. He'll hear somebody come in, and an easy rotate for Mark to clean it up on Buck, and the lack of hard breach will really punish Nemesis as Reciprocity bring one back, so they will win both upstairs, lose both downstairs here so far.
Yeah, I think it's possible that Nemesis, it kind of hurts to say this, but it's possible that Nemesis didn't realize that Reciprocity could go back up to the armory site, because having a sledge instead of a hard breach is actually pretty decent for the ventilation workshop, because you don't, if you're not focused on taking armory, then you don't really need hard breach. Speaking of, they take hard breach this time when they know that Reciprocity can't go into armories, so that's interesting. But yeah, the sledge would have been good to break open any castle barricades. But again, you don't really see castle on armory. You generally see it more on ventilation or any of the other sites. Another thing I will want to mention is that if I'm Reciprocity, and if this defense doesn't work from them, I would probably say go to Customs, because Customs is a site that doesn't lend itself to rushing as well as this workshop ventilation does. There are a lot more long angles that you can play from Customs, that you can easily hold a dock or a rook or anyone with an ACOG. Just play those angles, and you have a bit more success there. But Reciprocity do think that they can make this ventilation hold work, and let's see if they can do it with a frost.
A frost indeed. And you know, we looked at these statistics not incredibly too long ago that showed and I think Rainbow Six themselves actually tweeted it out or released it in some manner, that the higher tiered players you go, the more effective frost traps actually became. So you saw it a lot, and this was ranked play, by the way, not necessarily comp play, but I would imagine that high-level comp people are typically high-level ranked people, although everybody says that a lot of them don't even like to play ranked. They just like to focus on what they like to focus on. But all of that extra stuff aside, frost mats seem to be more effective on people at this level just because they don't see them that often, because they're just not effective. So it's kind of a reverse psychology in its own sense. But here we go. Round number 5, all tied up 2 apiece. There will be 2 more rounds, including this one of defense offense before the roles swap. And Nemesis will be working in CCTV this time towards the pillbox. All the people now stacked up here. Nobody split off on their own. Actually, there is downstairs, but he's not actually in the building. Laxing on the frost is just kind of hanging out below sight as well, waiting to pounce.
One thing I want to mention about that frost statistic too is that it's definitely possible that higher level players better know where to put frost traps as well. So it could be that people are dying more to frost traps because they don't expect it at higher level play, or it could just be that the frost traps are in craftier locations. You know, instead of right in front of a doorway or right in front of a window, it might be somewhere where someone would take cover in the middle of a firefight, and they might not scout it out beforehand. But looking at Nemesis and this attack, they're taking this much more standard. They're taking control of ventilation, which is what we normally see out of pretty much any team, especially Pro League teams. And I honestly don't really think this is a great idea, because this is where it goes into Reciprocity's wheelhouse. This is how Reciprocity know how to play border. They've been playing it for a very long time. They have very standard defensive strats, and I think they're used to vertical play like this. So I would probably say that Reciprocity is going to win this round, but as I say that, Mork does get the first headshot onto Mark the Shark with the MK14.
Yes, he does. Can will find Retro also. A little bit of action almost going downstairs as the drone will find one of the roamers. And out of a hot drop, he will get into sight. 5v2. Mort will find a second of the round onto Hopes. And now only 2 remain. The plant will go down. It will be a retake situation seemingly as, Laxig will whiff the shots. Buck, easy cleanup. Fox will find one onto Can, but he'll have to find every single other member of Nemesis if he wants to have a shot at retaking this site. Buck will be holding the main stairs. He's holding above, but the time is ticking away. He'll have to move quick in order to find all 4 bodies that he must find in order to take it. He will not do so. Mizio will find his second as well onto Foxay, and that will be Nemesis 3-2 here going into round 6.
Yeah, and I think the most surprising and the most important part of that round was the fact that Nemesis won the round playing standard. And at the beginning, we were thinking, okay, Nemesis, they're catching Reciprocity off guard. They're going for these rushes, and it's been working out really well for them. Well, this time they didn't. This time they just played the way you normally played this site for attack, and it worked. So maybe it's, again, still possible that Reciprocity were expecting a rush, and so it still caught them off guard. But even still, when you don't see that the rush is coming in the first minute, that's when you have to go back to your defaults, make sure your roamers are on point. You have to have someone go upstairs to pressure the attackers, and I just didn't really see any roamers from Reciprocity worried about that until Foxay did at the very end of the round. And by then it was really too late because the rest of his team had already died. So I think Reciprocity, they needed to contest the second floor a lot sooner, especially as soon as they saw that Nemesis wasn't going to rush that round.
Right, so here we go. Back downstairs. This will be Reciprocity's 4th opportunity to defend it. They have not been successful once yet. They will bring that castle strat out again. They tried it once with the castle. They tried it once without the castle. Both times, no. And the time that they did it without the castle, mind you, they reinforced 2 of the panels in the bathroom, but they didn't reinforce that 3rd one, and that allowed Buck on that particular one, and not Buck the player, but Buck the operator, to open up just a single pop with that skeleton key that allowed them to go in and sneak plant with, I believe, 9 players left alive. So we'll have to see if the bathroom is a point of contention this time around. We've also seen them, Mr. Azaraki, attack from the front as well, which looks like perhaps where they're headed this time.
It does, and I do like what Reciprocity is doing right now because they're playing they're playing for a catch-all game. They put castle barricades downstairs to prevent rushes, and they're playing most of their players upstairs to prevent that sort of standard sort of attack that we've seen from Nemesis. And actually, Laxing is the only one who's back up here. He has a lot of utility, a lot of reinforcements, a lot of Valcams up at the second floor, but he is the only man here. He will find a couple of shots, not quite getting the kill onto Can yet, and that'll actually only see one of those bullets hit, as Can only lost about 24 health.
Yeah, and another thing, I'm not sure if Foxay tried another run out, but he will get down to 50 really, really early on. I'm not sure how that happened. I didn't catch that, but I guess that's moot at this point. So they will use the hard breach to open up the wall, and while that's happening, Can will push in. But Laxing holding strong here. He's already called out by the Dokkaebi, so they know he's nearby. He will retreat back a little bit further. Of course, Archives, but he'll peek up and get the nice headshot onto Can. That's the buck gone. Soft destruction onto the ceiling above, gone with it. Mort will refrag onto Laxing, but it will be too late as one goes down. Mort will also drop, not sure what to, but Hayes will stop the bleeding as he will take out Retro.
Yep, and a couple of changes to note as well. First of all, when you revive someone, they only come back with 20 health. They don't go to the full 50, so the reset is not as effective. But Buck gets a headshot onto Foxay, and that leaves us with a 4v2, and Nemesis are just looking really good on their attacks. And now they have full control of the upstairs, shooting the legs. Mort is going to take out Mark, and Mizio gets hopes as well. Nemesis cleans up another round on attack, and Reciprocity just can't win a round that isn't on Armory.
Yep, not going great so far for Reciprocity. I'm not sure where this placed out. Now note that we do have a sub playing. At first we thought it was Laxing that was going to be subbed out, but it didn't end up being Laxing, did it? It ended up, oh wait, we knew it was Skies. Okay, good.
We knew it was Skies, yeah.
Okay. I had heard something about Laxing, perhaps, but perhaps not. Maybe I'm just crazy. But yeah, Reciprocity not having a fun time. I don't think that the skill level or the gunplay level of these two teams is even enough to even have one sub for Reciprocity, really just kind of drag them down. So Nemesis is just really on point. Reciprocity, not sure if they're strat saving. I know they always are to some degree when there's, Pro League on the line and teams' abilities to go back and do research on what exactly they're doing. But they are, especially on a map like Border, they are privy to all the basic stats that have been just used for so long on this particular map that surely they can find something that's out of their realm of, whatever twist they have on their setup. And it just doesn't seem to be working, as Nemesis, unlike the first round, every round since has just been winning their gunfights.
Yeah, and winning their gunfights is something that it's good that you mentioned the sub, because Hope's in for Skies. We all know Skies is a very strong fragger. He and Laxing generally like to go on duo roam plays, and they can really clutch out rounds with that combo, and the fact that they don't have the combo is definitely hurting them a little bit. Now, in the same respect, even though you're missing Skies, I don't think you should be at this much of a loss, especially considering that Reciprocity just didn't really seem to have a great team cohesion over the past couple rounds, at least not when they were defending ventilation. And so that's something that I would expect to be better even without Skies. So maybe they still have a couple of things to clean up, other than just the fact that they don't have one of their best fraggers.
So here we go, role swap already done. First round, round 7, and we will see a Nomad on the side of Reciprocity. They will go upstairs, them being Nemesis for their first defense. They have the Evil Eyes and the Yokai drones combined. Usually we'll see one of those two banned out, but not this time around. Instead, we'll have the Pulse and the Mira. Mira, a very other common ban that we see here. Not a lot going on, about a minute deep. No damage done anywhere except for a very tiny amount done to the Thatcher. Not sure how. The wall will get open, though, into Pillbox. Can holding a very aggressive angle out of the hole. And so far, not a lot going back and forth, really, as, a crazy jump-out attempt on the window. He'll get shot as he jumps. So he is down and detected outside. Foxay with the cleanup right there. 4v5 now, a minute and a half left to go. As it looks like the attackers have pretty much backed off of Pillbox. Not sure why.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why either. I think for the most part, they see that a lot of Nemesis's utilities over here in terms of Evil Eyes and Yokai drones, but they do have Foxay holding this front angle, and that is such a powerful Nomad spot right there. No one's around to take advantage of it, however, and that might actually be Buck realizing that Foxay pulled off the angle and wasn't going to be able to capitalize on that. But if they had the plant down, or if they were trying to prevent rotations, it would be great. Foxay gets one frag onto Can. This is such a powerful angle for him, and the run out. Foxay gets one with a Claymore. Now Mort's the only one left for his side. He manages to get one, gets a second, headshot onto Foxay, and now he has 1 health as Hopes just needs to round the corner and light him up with the Bearing 9, and Reciprocity take their first attack.
Yes, indeed. And sorry about having a little bit of feed issues, but we'll get that refreshed here for you ASAP. Very great round. First defensive round by Reciprocity. Or, I'm sorry, attacking round by Reciprocity. And, yeah, it was kind of sad to see that that Nomad go off, knock the Doc down, but he had already gotten off the rappel. Almost not worth putting it down there, as he knew people were challenging him at least just a second earlier. But that's okay. They will win it out. And we will see the second consecutive attempt to defend Armory Archives by Nemesis and a Cav. Here comes the 6 pick, though. No way they're going to stick on that Cav and give us a show. Right, Buck? Come on. Come on. You can do it, buddy. You can do it.
Oh, there's no the check mark.
Oh, yes. Well, you could still...
Yeah, you can still change,
back it up and change it. We'll see Maverick Nomad, Sledge, Thatcher, Thermite on the other side, and something kind of geared again to take the pillbox side or do a late rotate to office. That we'll have to wait and see. And I'm actually curious to see if they do try the same type of attack, or if they think that because the early rounds were indicative of it, if Nemesis is going to try and counter strat by putting a little bit more on that pillbox side. I mean, with the Evil Eyes, with the Yokai drone, you'd think that they'd have plenty of utility to throw down on one side, but apparently not enough, as they were unable to successfully defend their first round.
Yep, they were unfortunately unsuccessful there, and we will be seeing the Caveira stuck with. And so I'm not sure that is going to work against a team like Reciprocity, who is very likely to drone her out and basically reduce her usefulness altogether. And so, aggressive run out just to get a Valcam out, but with how long he was spotted, Reciprocity should know about it. Mark actually manages to pick him off before he even rotates back to site. That's a huge pick. Very start of the round, too. That's crazy. And one thing that I think we haven't mentioned so far, but Hayes reminded me of, was he hovered Mozzie for a little bit. And that reminded me to talk about the fact that both of the new ops are currently in suspension, so neither team can play them until they've had a couple of weeks, couple of months for people to get used to. We don't want anyone abusing any glitches that might be found with them before there's a chance to really figure them out.
Yeah, so Mizio will find the head of Retro. That's the Thatcher gone, and just like Mr. Azaraki was saying, they do have a 1-season kind of evaluation period, and that's more just to make sure that they are fair and balanced operators. We don't want to have a Lions situation again, and immediately put him into competitive play where he has, you know, a 99.9% pick rate, and oh, the window will get opened up, and Foxay will get Can, who's been doing a lot of fragging on the side of Nemesis really early on. So 4v3 pretty early on into the round, too. Not even half the round gone. Foxay will see and take some shots, and another one of the defenders, that would be Mort, down on Vigil, get a little bit of damage down, but nothing that they cannot come back from. A drone will come in through the window right there on Sandwich. I'm not sure if he spotted Jaeger, but Jaeger will hightail it out of there, not wanting to challenge whoever's on rappel. So that kind of peek off battle will go. And right now, Team Reciprocity, they can just take their time. They're a man up. They got plenty of time to work with. It's time to, I guess, try and get a little bit of information before making the rest of their approach.
And we'll see what sort of approach they do as we tick down to 1 second, 1 minute left on the clock. Now Laxing gets a kill onto Buck. That's the Caveira, unfortunately not having done pretty much anything this round. The Nomad trap that we saw before gets placed in between the lockers, and that will prevent any rotation from happening. And Mizio is just trying to peek it without activating it, and actually the Nomad thing doesn't activate at all.
It does.
So Mizio just gets a frag.
Yeah, it does, but he launched it right next to the windowsill, so Mizio will get 2, but Mark will come in And Laxing must have downed somebody earlier, so that will be Reciprocity turning it back after 2 quick kills by Mizio. And, yeah, an unfortunate placement, because I saw him when he launched the Nomad. It basically stuck, like, right to the windowsill. So the blast radius, although he was right at the periphery of it, it wasn't enough to really send him back. It did kind of mess up the audio you could hear for just a second. So Mort, 10 and 5, doing absolute work. We saw Can have a couple of good rounds on the other side. Fox A doing it well. So we've seen Reciprocity quite a few times here at CCS. We've seen Laxing do well. We've seen Skies do really well. We've seen Mark the Shark do really well. And it looks like everybody's kind of taking a turn as Mark sits atop the leaderboard for them as well. So here we go into round number 9. Reciprocity winning both of their attacks so far after being down 2 at the half. Now we are all tied up 4 apiece.
Yep, and Armory Lockers is still going to be the call for Nemesis, and I think maybe they might actually just want to go to a different site, because the fact that Nomad isn't banned, and we didn't see Nemesis do this at all, but Foxay is really abusing the Nomad, playing that little window between the lockers that cuts off any rotation over toward the armory wall, which is one of the most common plant spots for attackers on this map. So it's something that I would much rather have seen Nemesis try to do, but the fact that it's unbanned means Reciprocity is going to use it to its fullest potential and basically sort of punish Nemesis for neither banning nor utilizing it. And I just want to see Nemesis go to a different site, one that isn't so absolutely controlled by one angle, like it is here.
A lot like it is here. Oh, and Can will see some movement through the palm trees, but not be able to hit anything. Actually, maybe a little bit on Foxay. They'll return fire a little bit as well. 5 health. And, oh, Mort holding an angle as well will get sought out. Great reaction time. Fox will take a little bit more damage. Doc will, too, but he'll decide to heal it up. And Can will find one onto Foxay again through the run out. He's just going to hold the angle, get detected. Mark will refrag. Mark will get one, though, right back onto Mark. So a re-peek outside will result in a refrag. And now we got Sledge and Nomad both off the board about 40 seconds in, Azaraki.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where the first 20 seconds passes and you're just sitting there going, what's going on here? What exactly is happening? As Nemesis decide to go for, I think, like 3 different spawn peaks, 2 of which work out, and 1 of which didn't. It was a very strange start to the match, but they did get Foxay, and that's the Nomad off the board, who was playing the window between the rotation, and that's actually a huge pickoff, because now Reciprocity don't have that extra utility, which is so strong. And now they're pretty much forced to push in. They have all the site take utility that they need. They just don't have the holding potential of Nomad.
Yeah, Foxay off the board. Their top frag, might I add, at the moment. Mort will find one onto Laxing, so that's 3 for Reciprocity gone. Only Can being found in the early seconds of the round. So a lot of work for the Thermite and the Thatcher to do. Thermite's going to be low. Mort will find Retro, so now it is only hopes that remains with about 30 health to find 4 people. He will find one on an aggressive run out, but he'll still have to find 3 more as Doc will heal himself right back up. Hopes just a smidge of health. He'll play it patiently. He's got plenty of time to work with. He'll throw a flashbang out. They know he's in fountain. Some shots will go back and forth through the wall. It will not connect with anybody on either side. He'll push a little bit further forward, but a very tight angle being held on the bomb here by the Doc. C4 number 1 will go out, not connect. He will peek very slowly, looking to see if he can find somebody, but no. Mort, hiding behind the bomb, will quick peek out. That will take the head of Hopes, and Nemesis will bring their first round here on defense.
Yep, and aggression was the key for them this time, and it sort of has been for the first half of the match as well. So it's always nice to see them returning to that and finding success with it. And once again, we get a peek at the scoreboard to see that Mort, sitting at 14 kills. He's really rocking that Doc on defense.
Was that a 4K?
And, it might have been. It was either 3 or 4, but yeah,
I think it was 10. When we looked at it last round, like they both had 10 kills. So Mort, if that was a 4K, yeah. Sorry we didn't hoot and holler about it. Good job there.
It was hard to keep track of things at the beginning of the match, I'll tell you what. But yeah, definitely good frags on that side, and Reciprocity They tried to challenge some of those runouts. Maybe they could have been a bit safer with it. But overall, also notice that Reciprocity, as soon as they know that Nemesis can't go back to Armory, they switch off of the Nomad. So you no longer have that single window between lockers that can completely cut off any rotations toward the most popular plant spot or attackers on that site. And so they're not running the Nomad anymore. And I think that's a smart decision because there aren't really too many locations on this site that you could really utilize a Nomad. You can use it to watch your backs a little bit, but there's no single most dominant spot that you could possibly have.
Right. So, but of course, if they play it like we are used to being, or we're used to seeing it, where top control is going to be important for this attacking squad, and they do have the Sledge to try and go for it. They do have the Zofia as well. They just open up a lot of sight lines down onto the site. If they decide to go that way, Nomad not terrible. Not terrible, especially when you're trying to set up for the retake if you manage to get the plant down over by the bathroom wall. But just like we saw when Reciprocity got really aggro onto Nemesis, we see Reciprocity all sticking together out of spawn, just checking all their angles, taking their time, making sure that all their, I guess, possible angles are covered as they approach and enter the building.
Yeah, and they especially want to drone out for any runouts because they know that Nemesis has been very aggressive with their defensive plays. So keeping drones posted in common runout spots is very likely to happen here, especially when you're attacking from offices. There are a lot of good runouts that defenders like to utilize over here. Laxing gets the first kill by opening up one of the custom walls. And now Buck off the board. That is Alibi, so not a lot of utility missing there. A lot of people mostly play Alibi for the pretty much laser she's got. Very low recoil gun with high fire rate. Can be a headshot machine, the MX4 Storm. Now Foxay gets a kill onto Mort, leaves us with a 3v5, and Reciprocity have a lot of map control as well. As you see, Foxay is already poking into Workshop.
They do have a lot of map control. The problem is there's nobody there to refrag, but that doesn't matter if you kill everybody. Foxay with the second. He is on site. He's got coverage from the top. He also has, oh, I thought he had diffuser there for a second. He actually does not. He was putting down a claymore. But no other defender on site. There are defenders and attackers both above, duking it out. Where is the diffuser at? Bring it down to site. Let's get a plan off, shall we? Reciprocity? Yes, indeed. They finally bring it down. 3 people on site. One will just stay up top. Izio playing close on that hatch. But 3 for Nemesis gone will be a very, very difficult retake here for Nemesis. Shots will go back and forth. Mark with the SMG-11 will find one. Mizio with the refrag on a Foxay, but it will not be enough as Laxing will find the last one. And Reciprocity bring it right back. We are 5-5.
5-5 it is, and Reciprocity looking a lot better on their attack than they are on their defense. Meanwhile, Nemesis, so far on their defense, the only one that has really worked was when they got super aggressive at the beginning, went for a bunch of spawn peaks, and just completely caught Reciprocity off guard. There's, of course, a chance that that Reciprocity is going to start expecting those sorts of runouts, and we saw last time they positioned a lot of their drones in common runout spots, and I think that worked out pretty well for them, because even if Nemesis decides not to run out, the fact that they see that a drone saw them near a runout spot means that they probably won't go for it, because they're droned out. So you definitely don't want to peek an angle after you've been droned out. But it does look like Nemesis is going with 3 ACOGs for this defense: Doc, Echo, and Maestro.
Yeah, expect to see some aggression here. We've seen the Echo Maestro combo. Usually we only see one, but that's because you usually see one of them banned, at least. So it is interesting to see that, but has it been effective so far? Well, not necessarily. Reciprocity winning 3 of the 4 rounds that they have attacked so far, finding a lot of success on this side of things here on border. We will see one team rise to 6-5 here in this round. The next round will be extremely important because it could close this map out, or it could send us into a 3-round overtime. That we will have to wait and see. While they're setting up, let me get from and a quick shout out to, let's get the scoreboard up if you don't mind, Mr. Volquin. who is observing for us tonight. Thank you, sir. So, yeah, Morton at 14 got shut down early. Hayes, we saw him do a little bit early, but really hasn't done much after that. Reciprocity, you got Fox A, and then everybody else not super contributing to kills. I think we saw one with 7 there. But a couple, maybe 3 with 3 kills only after 10 rounds. Not super great. Going to have to do a little bit more to get this map done with for Reciprocity, or have to try and go for a tie on map 2 should Nemesis win it. Fox A will storm into sight. After a lot of droning having been done, he will already get a hole opened up into sight. And oh no, he'll just miss the shot. He'll get a little bit of damage down. He'll start opening up a sight line as well. People right on the other side of the wall shooting back. Laxing will get one onto Mizio. The entire bathroom wall reinforced, but oh, a peek from around the corner by Can will shut down Fox A. He'll open up some sight lines. Can with 2 though. Beautiful shots as Hopes goes down as well.
That was a crazy shot by Can. The second one specifically through the wall, right onto the head of Hopes. That was quite a shot. But I was going to say at the beginning that Fox A on Maverick is Hayes with another nice shot himself, a headshot right onto Mark, bringing it down to a 4v2. And Nemesis, off of sheer fragging power, are able to take most of this round so far. 2v4 is definitely not lost, though, and we have seen clutches like this before. Reciprocity just need to take it slow. They have 1 minute and 30 seconds left to scout out the defense. They have a Jackal as well, who's very good at isolating one person and spotting them out. We'll see how well Nemesis can basically sit back, play angles, and prevent themselves from getting picked off one by one.
This is not a fantastic lineup that Reciprocity has to go up against down 2-4 with 1 minute left. We've got Doc with the heals. We've got the Yokai drone to contend with. You've got the Evil Eyes to contend with. Retro will find one. So that will take the Black Eye cameras out, but those have already been deployed, unfortunately. Still taking their time. Still got plenty of time left. I like the way that they're playing this. Retro is playing alone right now, waiting for Laxing to swing around. So he's trying to get to see if anybody who's just going to give up their life and challenge him while he holds that angle. Still on the main stairs, but now the time ticks away. Now is the time that they're going to have to make a move. Somebody is remaining. I can't tell if he's in bathroom or in the back of workshop. I believe he's in the back of workshop. Not sure if they're going to try and utilize that opening. Hayes, though, will find one through that soft wall. Laxing will find one as well. 2v1. This could be a winnable situation. It's going to be very difficult, and no, Buck will shut him down. That ACOG from main stairs. So Nemesis will bring it up to 6-5 as they will move into match point going into round 12.
And this is something that I don't think anyone really saw coming, that Nemesis would be the one forcing Reciprocity on the match point, and just off of their sheer aggression and gunplay for the most part. And again, some of it has been, you know, the sort of the rank star aggression that we've seen, a lot of runouts, a lot of peaks, spawn peaks and stuff. But Nemesis attacks were actually pretty coordinated while being aggressive, which is something that we don't see too often. So it's always nice to get a glimpse into that. Meanwhile, Reciprocity and their attack started off really well, but started to fall apart in the last couple of rounds. So we'll see if they can get back into it, not bringing a Nomad this time around. They might 6th pick to it, because we are going back to Armory, and we saw how strong that position between lockers was. It doesn't look like they will go for a Nomad, but that absolutely does not mean that one of them can't just play that angle normally. As long as they have someone watching, or a Claymore watching the air conditioning, then they're going to be fine playing that angle.
Yeah, and I will mention that other than that one good spot on Sandwich that knocked the Doc down, but they weren't able to capitalize on, I haven't really seen any really, really important Nomad plays come out. Any crazy setups that have really been effective come out from Nomad. And I think they finally realized that. So switching off of the Nomad, getting somebody else is going to be something important. And now we'll see Fox A will get the Hibana, the Hibana. So we'll have a double hard breach potential here from Reciprocity. Going into what is Nemesis's round point. Remember, Reciprocity brings it back here. We will be seeing a 3-round overtime with a roll swap of 1. So they will switch every round in overtime. This will be Nemesis perhaps last time to defend before overtime if Team Reciprocity manages to win it. it's been a pretty good back and forth here. It's been a very balanced effort on both sides. We've seen everybody win on attack, everybody win on defense. We've seen some people play coy, or we've seen some rounds where the teams play coy. We've seen some rounds where they're very aggressive with runouts and spawn peaks, etc., etc. You can tell it's been a while since Nemesis did any spawn peaks because Reciprocity kind of doing a split push after being bunched together after getting kind of messed up by that really, really aggressive peak setup Nemesis had early on.
Indeed. And one thing that I want to mention is that I really like double hard breach for this site, because it means that you can put on a lot of pressure from both the armory wall as well as offices. And I think this double hard breach setup is even stronger due to the fact that Reciprocity know that Nemesis just apparently don't like running any breach denial. They haven't really been running Bandit, and I think they took Mute once out of all of their defenses. So denying hard breach has never really been much of a priority for them. And so Reciprocity know this. They don't have to take a Thatcher, which means they can get the extra utility of Sledge with those grenades, the extra utility from Zofia, and the smoke grenades from Jackal as well. So they can have this really good setup that's solid, covers all bases with a double hard breach. So far, the armory wall has been opened. That is Thermite going for it. So I expect to see at some point Foxay putting pressure on through offices and getting a Habana X Kairos pellet over there as well, and just collapsing in from as many angles as possible. And there he is. He's ready to push in through offices, but Mizio gets the first pick onto Retro, and that was actually right through the armory wall.
Yep, but Hopes will refrag right onto Mizio. He kind of got that kill, got a little blood hungry, and peaked a little too early. So I'm not sure what happened to that first grenade. Mark will throw a second one. No, will not connect with anybody. Hopes getting down to a little bit. And Doc with that little shot through the window. He'll knock open a hole, revive his teammate, which I think got blasted by that grenade. Mark will find one. Can will refrag. Kills going back and forth. Fox will find one, as will Laxing 1v3. And it looks like we have an overtime that is imminent, as the Buck on that Maestro will shoot a lot. Not connect, though. Foxay will find another one onto Bucks. And Foxay just having a spectacular time here on Border. Reciprocity will bring it, so we will go into overtime in Map 1.
And normally we like to talk about, which team gets which side at the start of the overtime. But in this case, both teams won a decent amount of attacks and both teams won a decent amount of defenses. And I think, let's see, attack for Reciprocity, I think, goes into Reciprocity's favor, because if Reciprocity got defense first, they would win the Armory Locker's defense no problem. And then their second defense, if Nemesis were to take the second round of overtime, Reciprocity's second defense would have to go to Ventilation Workshop, or basically anywhere other than Armory. And we saw that they just weren't able to win any of their non-Armory defenses. So I think Reciprocity starting on attack is fortunate for them, and I think they have a decent chance of closing out this game, bringing the Nomad back as well. But we also saw Nemesis. Their defenses have been pretty strong too. They've been aggressive, and I imagine for overtime, we might actually see them go for something strange, something overly aggressive. And we'll see if it works out or not. They do have 3 ACOGs once again, but instead of the Echo, they bring the Rook. Just for more safety, and I think the Rook might actually signal that they're more likely to spawn peak again.
Yeah, this would be the time to bring out something crazy, especially if you're on the particular round to kind of close it out here. But the thing is we've seen the crazy already so far, right? We've seen the hyper-aggression, the runouts, the peaks. We've seen them turtle in sight and wait for something to come to them. We've seen just about everything. I mean, I don't know what could possibly come out here that would surprise anybody. But I guess that remains to be seen, as here comes the run out. A very, very deep run out will not find anybody. He will run back to safety. That's the Doc taking a very, very risky deep run out. But nothing will happen. Peak being held here by Mort onto the bus, but he'll find nobody there as well. They will bring that Nomad back, like you mentioned. And as the time ticks away, they're just going to find some intel. They're not really finding shots back and forth. There's been some peaks. There's been some aggressive angles being held, but they just haven't seen anybody so far.
In Reciprocity, I think they they decide to play this round really safe and prevent themselves from getting run out in any position, but Retro gets a frag onto Can. And that was actually through some of the main windows. I think he was caught off of the rotation there. So good play by Reciprocity once again. Trading shots back and forth. Mark will go down. Mork gets a headshot with his MP5.
Yep, good headshot to bring it back. It's 4-4, still 2 minutes left. A lot of action early, but you usually see that when you see these aggressive rounds, and Fox A holding this angle on this window, waiting for Mizio to peek out. He saw, I think, just a tinge of movement. He's right there behind the locker, so even though it looks like he could see him based on the outline, it's actually the locker in the way. And oh no, just shoot through the window, just shoot through the window. He'll steal. What? Oh
What a
my
flick.
goodness, Mort with a huge flick. Are you kidding me? What a shot by the Doc there. Insane. And that will be another of Reciprocity off the board. Do my eyes deceive me right there? I'm looking at, you know, we can see each other's faces. I'm looking at Azaraki. His eyes are about this wide. Even if Fox A's got to show a little bit of respect, because that was a crazy split. I mean, he was dead before you even saw him turn his body on the screen. That was nuts. And there will go Hopes going down a solo up top with the diffuser. Also the hard breach. He'll get the wall open. Laxing and Retro will refrag, bringing it to a 2v2. We still got the Doc, and we still have the Vigil. But Reciprocity, time is on their side as some pop shots getting thrown through the wall.
Hot shots indeed, and now Bucket playing a very close angle. They might not be expecting this, but Mork does get one headshot. It's Retro going down. And Retro is going to jump right over, or Laxing will, and he'll get the headshot. He'll get the second one! Laxing with a 1v2 clutch, 2 headshots back to back. He brings the team his round, and that brings us to a defensive side from Reciprocity, and they only have to defend one site, and it's the site that they've won both times.
That was nuts. Laxing, you're nuts. You know you're nuts. You know you're nuts, Laxing. So here we go. Reciprocity with match point. Nemesis will not only have to win the next one, but they will have to win 2 rounds in a row. And either way, Nemesis doing a fantastic job so far. They were up 2-1. They just didn't have a great setup where if you're in one of those 2v1 situations, you got to be set up in such a way. And I know there's a lot of angles to cover, but you should have the intel at this point, you know, as the seconds are ticking away, that both of them are right there. And so you have to be in a position that where if one person dies, the other one is covered right then and there. You know what I mean? You've got to have a crossfire in a certain angle. And they were spread enough to where there's no way somebody could just, like, shoot somebody, flick 180 degrees, shoot somebody else. So if that's the case, you cannot be hidden from each other. You got to have the ability to do the immediate refrag in a 2v1 situation. And then it's an easy cleanup. They were not able to do that because somebody was tucked in office hiding. The other person behind half wall hiding. I'm not sure what they managed to accomplish. Of course, they are facing down the barrel at Laxing, right? One of the biggest fraggers for Reciprocity. So I understand maybe the natural instinct to play it safe, but in a situation like that where it's overtime and you have the ability to perhaps take a map off of Reciprocity, small stakes like that will cost you every time. And now Reciprocity on match point. Again, Nemesis has done a great job so far, but they're going to have to work really hard to get these 2 rounds and win it out. Fox A will prep some windows. I see some windows being prepped over on the east side as well for some peaks, perhaps some runouts. We've seen them do it before. We'll have to wait and see if they decide to do it again.
And that's a really good point that Ty made as well, because we saw at the very end, I forgot who it was, but or no, it was Laxing, right? So Laxing, he literally just vaulted over the half wall. And that is such a vulnerable position to anyone watching that angle from anywhere but behind the half wall. And so the fact that it wasn't refragged or it wasn't even watched was very strange, and definitely some what looked like a simple mistake that ended up being a very basically a round loser for Nemesis, which is unfortunate. But again, kudos to Laxing for getting both headshots as well. And now we have a defense from Reciprocity. Again, this is the site that they won both times. Every time they were forced to go to a different site, they lost. And so they are feeling pretty comfortable. We're on overtime. It is match points, so they just need to win this one or the next one as well, which is an attack. So Reciprocity are actually sitting in a pretty good position as far as the sort of like mini overtime meta goes.
Yes, so a little bit of aggression perhaps at the beginning has backed down to a full turtle from Nemesis. They're not being extreme, or a full turtle rather from Reciprocity. They're not being extremely fluid on the rotation. They do have one in the fountain area as the Dokkaebi calls will go out. They will get droned out as well, so a lot of drone work, a lot of intel being gathered as Nemesis is all now in offices, 4 of them. A lot of that utility will be brought out. They'll bring Laxing down, but Retro will stop and get a frag of his own before they're able to finish him off. It will be impossible, really, for Retro to cross, though. There are so many bodies looking at him. The soft will get opened up. They'll see him on the cross. Shots going back and forth. Now, Retro is pinned down. He'll need some help from some of his teammates in order to get out. Maybe not. Retro with that SMG-11 will get it down. Doc will come over and pick up the down player. He'll get a kill, too, but Hayes and Buck again will get 2 apiece. It's a 3v1. Nemesis on the cusp of a win. Retro forced to rotate out, ringing about 30 health left. And he will have to attempt a retake as now full sight control here for Nemesis.
1v3, I think it might actually be, once he gets closer, I think it might actually be shotgun time for Retro, seeing as every member of Nemesis is at half health. Hopefully the rest of Reciprocity has calmed that out to the rest of their team. We will go toward the outside and get a decent amount of control over offices, but it is still a 1v3 situation. It looks like Nemesis are finally holding back. They're holding their angles, and they will be able to get it. Buck with a full house, 3 on Buck, 2 on Hayes, and they are going to be able to take the defense into their favor. And now we're going to head to the match point. No infinite overtime anymore.
Yeah, map point.
Yeah,
map
point.
We are going to see a second map of this matchup here, but a fantastic job by Nemesis. That flurry of frags at the end there. Great job. And now we've got 3 players on Nemesis and triple-digit kills. 1 away. Everybody doing a lot of work. Let's see that kill feed here for just one more second. Mr. Volquin, our unbelievably awesome observer, hopes, the coach, the sub, not having a good day. Can't really, I guess, expect them to. Foxay, Laxing both just fragging it out here. Laxing in the latter rounds just going absolutely ballistic, as we've seen winning that 1v2 just a round ago. But here we go into what will be the final round, one way or the other. Whoever wins this round will win. We'll have Nemesis once again on defense, Reciprocity on attack. And I didn't happen to catch that bomb site, Azaraki. Where are we going?
We're going back upstairs. We're going to Armory. And again, this is the pretty standard one, but we do see a Kaid. So for the first time, Nemesis actually bringing some hard breach denial. But on the side of Reciprocity, they do have a Thatcher, so it's going to be taken out pretty quickly. And of course, Kaid only gets 2 of his electric claws, the Retila or something. I don't actually know how to pronounce it, but he does only get 2 of them, and there are 3 EMPs, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem for Retro to manage this. And as our observer had just spotted, he already used 1 on the office walls as well, so spreading it out, he's not going to be able to trick anything, but he might not end up needing to, considering that there is only 1 hard breach, and it is Hopes.
Another thing that we are seeing that is different from before is there hasn't been as well, just as I say that, here comes the P. I was going to say, there hasn't been a whole lot of perhaps peaks or runouts here by Nemesis. They all seem to be kind of hurtling around site. As a matter of fact, they're all on either A or B. Finally, will one move their way towards offices. Probably going to rotate back at the first sign of trouble, but just to delay a little bit, he'll push forward for the time being. Now, just like we saw from Nemesis just a round ago, Reciprocity doing a lot of intel gathering. This is, win or go home basically on map number 1 before we go into map number 2, which I believe is Coastline, to see who will take it all. So it's anybody's map right now, as it is 7-7. And I don't think in North America we have gone the distance yet this season in North America, at least not during the regular season. So this will be the first time we do so, if my memory holds true. Again, a lot of droning happening. A little bit of a split push coming from Reciprocity, seeing if they can find maybe somebody just by themselves roaming around the map somewhere, but they will not, as the Thatcher Thermite combo will go off here on the pillbox.
And Reciprocity are taking this slowly, and they're taking it linearly, so they don't seem to want to put too much pressure over on the offices side of things. Seems like Laxing and Foxay are just going to hold off rotations. from the other side of the map. Armory wall will get open, and now it's up to Mizio to see if he can get an early pick. He sees the head, not able to get the kill, however. And we'll see Mark start peeking around the corner, a little bit of damage as well. Foxay goes down. He's not killed quite yet, however. And now Mizio gets one on the Mark. So far, Nemesis is actually looking really good on this map point.
Look at Fox with 1 health. An easy impact grenade pickup by Buck. And Nemesis looking fantastic. There goes Laxing as well. So Thatcher only 1 health. Finally, Retro will find one. On to Can. And some shots still going back and forth. It is a 4v2, though. Not looking good at all for Reciprocity, as Nemesis will get healed back up thanks to that Doc. Mizio's doing so much work from behind that half wall. They can't even progress any further than that. Here come the goo mines as well, as they do know that they are outside of that pillbox. They'll drone him out. He's still there. He's still behind half wall. You guys haven't been able to do much so far. Some shots will go back and forth. Both will get injured a little bit, but Thatcher down to almost nothing. Hopes will find one. That's a 3v2. He'll get shots on the other, but no, he'll get dropped, but not out. And now it is all down to Thatcher with about 4 health. As, oh no, I thought the thermite got finished off. My mistake. It's 2v2 still effectively, but Buck an easy cleanup, as there was only about 5 health between the two of them. And Nemesis will take map 1 off of Reciprocity.
That is the surprising result, I think, to anyone. The Pro League team going down 1 map to Nemesis. Now, we are heading to Coastline next, which I think Reciprocity have a really big advantage in. Because with Border, you can play it pretty linearly on attack and defense. You know, there isn't as much room for different roaming plays or basically the attackers to surround the site as there is in Coastline. And I think Reciprocity probably have the advantage in that respect, considering that they have practiced against other Pro League teams who are very used to this whole sort of surrounding, holding a bunch of different angles and getting crossfires on a map like Coastline.
Listen, we saw great plays come out of both of these teams, but at the end, Nemesis, they did what you might think would be impossible. You had Reciprocity completely at match point in overtime, 7-6. It was forcing Nemesis to win 2 in a row, and that they did. 1 on attack, 1 on defense. Great job by them to win map number 1 here. So I think much to people's surprise, I think we're going to have a look, and you're probably looking at the lobby. So tell me if the teams want to take a break or if we want to get started right into map number 2, which will be Coastline, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Azaraki. Is that correct?
Yep, Coastline. And we're getting word from the players right now, and we'll see what they decide if they want a quick break or not. But yeah, Nemesis, like, their frags were on point. Mort especially, he got so many kills throughout that entire round, and it does look like the players are ready to head right into this. So we don't even have to go to a break. We can just get back-to-back maps, back-to-back action. Yep,
go ahead and start it when you're ready, because I know that the teams are ready. And yes, we will get started right away into Coastline. We never get to get started that fast back-to-back, Mr. Azaraki. Yeah. So here we go into Coastline right now. Just get it set up. There we go. And so I think it was an easy prediction, I would say, at the beginning. So say, oh yeah, Reciprocity's got this in the bag. We got Nemesis in 5th place. They haven't won a game. Sure, they've tied twice. They haven't won a game yet, though. And they've lost a game. Reciprocity, on the other hand, has won 2, tied 1, lost 0. And in just a minute, we're going to figure out what you guys out there voted on the Strafe app. But after what we saw in Nemesis in map number 1, what do you think about this? Does Nemesis have a shot to win this whole thing?
I think there is a shot because, again, their fragging potential has been on point. But I think Coastline is a map that favors Reciprocity more than Border, considering, like I mentioned before, there's just so many different angles that you can play as an attacker and as a defender as well. So the map itself is not as linear as Border, whereas Border is kind of like, okay, let's defend Armory, let's defend offices, and there you go. With Coastline, you have to be much more wary of a bunch of different angles. You have to play the vertical, you pretty much have to play the vertical game every time. Whereas on Border, the vertical game on the ladder sites is more important, but at Armory, you can go without playing vertically. And so I think all of these things sort of benefit Reciprocity a bit more given their Pro League experience.
So we had, and this is the vote on Strafe. If you guys don't have the Strafe app, you guys have to get the Strafe app and follow all your Rainbow Six and a lot of other esports as well, competitions, including CCS, Challenger League, Pro League, all your favorite tournaments and everything from Rainbow Six, that app Strafe. Also, I did fail to mention our beautiful sponsor for our statistics here at CCS in North America this season, Origin.gg. If you are a team or organization looking for a professional-looking website without professional-looking website money, look no further than Origin.gg, and I believe they have something free that you can use to try it out. So check that out if you want a professional-looking website for your team or org. So Strafe app, the vote was 94.1% for Reciprocity to win straight out, 5% for Nemesis to win straight out, which means only 0.9% for a tie. So a very, very few number of you will win if Reciprocity manages to win this second map. A good chunk of you, 5%, will manage to win if Nemesis. But for 94.1%, you are all wrong because there is no possible way for Reciprocity to win it outright. So thank you, Strafe, for that information. If you're just joining us, Nemesis beat Reciprocity just a minute ago on map number 1, but it wasn't by any stretch of the imagination not close, as it ended up going all the way into round 15. 7-8 was the score. And here is a very early, very deep run out by Can. Yet again, he will not find anybody. He will be able to make it safely back inside.
Yeah, that was a very ambitious run out, and nobody died. Probably good for the defense in that respect. But Reciprocity, looking at their lineup, they have both a Blackbeard and a Glaz, so they are absolutely ready to play the long game and to play sort of for this plant game. Can, oh, he gets the headshot on Delaxing. That's Glaz off the board immediately. A pair of smokes down, as well as the ability to see through those smokes. And one of the top fraggers from last round. And Foxay, there goes the other top fragger. Can goes ham, gets 2. We're down to a 5v3 already, and Nemesis starting strong.
Yeah, first 40 seconds, first 50 seconds, 3 people off the board. Mort will pick up one of his own onto Mark. So now we've got the sub, Hopes, and Retro, the support player, who's actually playing the Zofia right now. On left, and one of them, a little bit of damage being done. Can and Hayes on the other side of the board, a little bit of damage done. Mizio will find one onto Hopes. And Retro will bring it one back and not make it a flawless round for Nemesis, but he'll have to find 4 more. God knows he has plenty of time to do so, but can he find them? Shots will come through the soft wall so they know exactly where he is. They'll put some damage down onto him as well. And just like that, Can will find his 3rd and go crazy with that ACOG MP5. And that will be Nemesis. Off the backs of their victory in map 1 will take the first here on Coastline.
Yeah, I don't think anyone, again, expected that to happen. I certainly did not. And Reciprocity, frankly, just got torn apart there. And I think I think at this point we have to start talking about the mental game, because after losing the first round in such a close series and not having your main roster, like Hopes is subbing in, he's the coach. It's probably not feeling too good for them.
It's not feeling good, but I don't think that there's going to be any possibility of a mental, stalemate on the side of Reciprocity. They're just, it's just one of those things. They're at first place. There's only 2 more weeks left after this. Or is there 3 weeks? So there's 3 weeks left after this. They're in first place. All you have to do is finish top 4. Sure, the higher your rank, the better the seeding you get. But technically, when you get to the playoffs, it's, loser goes home. So you just have to win your games when you come to playoff, other than making top 4, right? If you get first place, you will face off in the first round against 4th place, which gives you a better option. But here's Team Reciprocity right now facing off against 5th place team Nemesis, who is yet to win a game. Nemesis taking map 1 and round 1 in here in map 2.
And now we're heading down to Kitchen, which is a site that I actually think Nemesis have a pretty good roster for. They have been getting their frags out, and there are plenty of places on this site where you can go for those aggressive peaks. And I think that'll benefit them pretty well, especially since they have 2, maybe 3 ACOGs, depending on which gun Buck decides to use. And during the last map, when he was playing Kaid, he was using the I almost called it the DMR. It's a slug shotgun, semi-automatic, but it's basically a DMR. So we can just call it that. If he has that, he'll also have an ACOG, and there are plenty of long angles that you can play in this site as well. So I think that'll benefit them pretty well. Looking at the side of Reciprocity, however, they have brought a Monty, so they're switching up their strategy. They have a Finka as well. 1 boost already going out, so it seems like Reciprocity are going for a fast game.
Yeah, it's looks like it. They are kind of lined up at delivery door. We got the shield set up there. We got Retro there as well, but I don't know where the rest of the teammates are.
Yeah, just not do anything with the Finka boost. That's a strange strategy, but...
Yeah, interesting. I'm not sure exactly what the plan was there, but Fox A will find one on the Mizio, so that's a good opener for... And here comes the plant going down right now behind the shield. I don't know if they have any idea because Buck and Fox A fighting in the hallway, and they don't... The diffuser will go down. So now it is a retake situation all the way for the defense. We see 2 upstairs ready to attempt to jump out if needed, but it looks like somebody's watching that. But Mort will find Retro out there. Laxi will find 1 and 2 behind the Lambo. Hopes will find 1 as well. 1v3. And now it is up to Can, the beast from last round. Can he do it outside detected? He will find 1. Get him down. He is completely detected. Just a smidge of health left. He will run back to the kitchen window, but Mark will be waiting in full shield form. He is detected. The time is run out. There is no time left to defuse. Hopes will clean that up, and that will be Reciprocity bringing it back after a very quick and very sneaky plant.
And a sort of situation like that, you can't really fault Can for losing, being 1v2 in a post plant as a defender against a Monty. You're definitely not winning that unless the attackers mess up something big time. But yeah, Reciprocity getting themselves on the board for this map as well, so they are definitely not out of the running yet. And that was a very strange round for Reciprocity too. So I think back and forth, these teams are sort of meeting each other by trying to surprise one another. And as Ty mentioned, like I think a minute into the round, Reciprocity started the defuse, and I don't think Nemesis noticed. I think if there was any sound cues, maybe it was masked by just the sheer amount of fighting that went on early as well. And we do see a Capcan from Nemesis 2 to help prevent some of the aggression, as well as Capcan's gun is actually a pretty good one too.
Yeah, I would say so, now that the recoil's kind of been calmed down a little bit. But here we go, round 3.
Oh, he's got the sausage. All right.
Round 3, 1 apiece, just like last time. We saw the last map go back and forth, all the way up until the very, very, very end. As far and as deep as you could possibly go. And Nemesis will come out on top of the first electric call, go out on to the south wall of Blue Bar. Blue Sunrise are the spots, and we also see the Capcan, like you mentioned, going up. And Mort now prepped for a run out. I wouldn't be surprised if Can was as well elsewhere with that Capcan. And a little bit of an angle being held here, but I'm not sure if anybody spawned, so I don't think we'll see Mort have any action. They did spawn over there, but we have one droning, the other one going the complete other way. So unless they realize that the peak is there and they want to punish, we won't see anybody. But I don't know if they know he's there. Yep, he will peek that corner, see that that door is open, know that there might be somebody lurking nearby. And there comes the drone peeking somebody out. Oh, and he sees the foot there on the left. He knows that he can reach in and possibly get a quick peek kill, but they got to do something about the guy on the left. So here comes the shield to push in, perhaps to play coy and not notice the person on the left, or run in after the left and see if they can push that guy, get him on the move, trying to escape, and catch him on the rotate. We'll have to wait and see as Mort is poking back and forth from the hallway. He'll see one, some shots will go back and forth. He will not do a lot of damage. He will do some. That'll be half the health about. Off of Hopes on that Capital. And it seems to be a standoff. Can will find the 1 kill with the C4. I thought it was a shield for a second, but it will not be the shield. There's somebody behind it. He'll jump out and find a second. Now they got the shield trapped in the corner. I'm not sure where the other Reciprocity members are. They will find him through the crack. Can with 3 so far, including that C4. So here we go. Only 2 left. Retro just holding an angle off the edge of the site. He'll find one. He continues to hold that angle. Softball getting opened up. Some shots will go back. As a matter of fact, he has sight. I think. No, he's got kitchen. Buck will get the kill on a Netro. And He'll get one onto Laxing as well, so Buck will clean it up in the end. Can and Buck both with multi-kills this round as Nemesis. He'll win one, lose one, win one, right back in round 3.
Yeah, and Reciprocity played that very strangely. They committed pretty much everything they had on trying to flesh out, I think it was the Jaeger, who was sitting in the corner right on top of the couch, but they didn't bring over any frag grenades. Like, they had Finka. Finka's got frags. They didn't bring Finka over. And so they weren't necessarily able to flush him out, even though they had a Monty staring at it. And then Can with the great flank from upstairs. And I'm just really wondering if you're literally standing in front of that door for the first minute of the round, and nobody is watching a run out from upstairs. That's a very questionable decision, and Can certainly benefited from it. He got 2 kills right off the bat, and then the third on the Monty as soon as he got pushed back into the corner. And, again, Reciprocity, this isn't the Pro League, so of course they have a couple of things that they want to save. They have Hopes in, that's their coach, instead of Skies. So they aren't at their 100%, but at the same time, these are mistakes that, even if you are saving strats, a team just shouldn't really make.
Again, it's been an interesting one here so far. They brought the shield to the door. Okay, they had somebody behind it. They knew somebody was in the hallway. They knew somebody was in the corner, and that one in the corner could have been an easy take. And they thought that, like, we'll push the shield in. We'll either push him back, or we'll push the shield in to stop an angle from that hallway, so that way somebody can kind of run in the door, quick peek left, and get that person just sitting there. The problem is once that nitro cell came out, it kind of all fell apart, right? Because that cleared anybody behind the shield for the jump out from Can to come from the second story. He jumped out, picked off the last one. Then you had Monty stuck in the corner, while the other two were on the other side of the map in that split push, and it was just a no-go from there. So a really good job to pick apart the stall by that attacking squad, by Nemesis. So here we go, round number 4, see if they can find something else. And here we have a clash working the door right now.
And Can gets the opening kill of the round onto Fox A. Very, very quickly is Jackal off the board, and the roaming Capcan with the SASG. Doing a bunch of work on the past 2 defensives. On Reciprocity are going to be missing that. And we saw a smoke grenade come out at the very beginning too onto this balcony that Mark is playing, but they didn't really do anything with it, so it was sort of just wasted utility. And there are a lot of situations where I'm not sure what Reciprocity is really trying to force here, especially just basically watching this clash in the shield. You're not going to kill her behind it. Oh, Hayes actually just peeks around the corner and kills Mark, and now Hope does get a kill onto Mizio, but that isn't a refrag for that, and Laxing is still on the roof. Gonna have to try to revive him at some point, but honestly, Nemesis are just looking really strong right now.
I'm not sure what happened. Hayes will finally finish off Laxing because he'll just time out there on the roof. We saw Jaeger, I'm not even sure what the context of that was. Jaeger detected outside, running around like crazy at the bottom. And I'm just not sure exactly what's happening. This Hayes clash thing has been keeping somebody busy up at the hookah balcony for so long. And look at that, the biffed flashbang. I think he flashed himself. Retro will find one on the sneak up from Cool Vibes, but Buck will refrag it right back, and now they know where the last one is. Mort will peek that and end Hope's life. Unfortunate that he flashed himself as well. So Reciprocity just not looking that smooth right now, and Nemesis taking full advantage.
Again, just strange decisions all around the board, and I think Reciprocity at this point, their teamwork has just been pretty off for this entire map. Just staring at the clash shield, they wasted a smoke grenade. They aren't refragging. They're not really holding their angles. We saw that Retro managed to sneak up and take out the clash in the end, but you really need to look out for a call way earlier about, there's a clash here. Let's just. I mentioned at the very beginning, before this map even started, that I think that Reciprocity would have had the advantage on Coastline because they have the Pro League experience, which means that on Coastline, a map that really favors getting so many different angles, refragging, using a lot of teamwork, opening up certain walls and getting just long angles, crossfires going. They haven't really been doing any of that, even though I know they can. So the thing that was going to give them an advantage for this map ends up just not being a factor at all, as Nemesis just takes it with pure gun skill.
Another thing about it is Nemesis has been doing these things where they'll set up in a location, and Reciprocity always challenges that location. The only time they didn't do that is when they got that plant off in delivery, right? And then it forced Nemesis into a retake situation. The other couple of times that I remember explicitly was, of course, going downstairs where they had, you know, they tried to get behind that shield and take it, even though, two people were there at one point in time. There was one above. It gave somebody a chance to rotate down below. And so Team Reciprocity are just trying to hit Nemesis head on right when they enter the building. They're not trying to gain any map control at all before engaging, and that's cost them. Mark will get the first kill, though, onto Buck right at the front door there. The second time is when they put that clash right there at the hookah balcony. C4 will go out, but Can will not connect with anybody. Actually, he'll get a little bit of damage, I believe, off the Capital. Retro will find one, but not be able to escape Vizio with the refrag there. And a 3v4, Reciprocity actually doing a little bit of work. One will drop bathroom. Can with that Capcan shotgun, I'm sorry, will do absolute work with the hip fire on that poor soul in bathroom. There will be a trade on the side of Reciprocity, though, as I believe Hopes will pick up one of his own. So we've got the Doc, we've got the Jaeger, we've got a very interesting round developing here. Mort will find one, though. It'll bring it back to a 2v2, and Reciprocity's man lead will all of a sudden dissolve.
It dissolves pretty quickly, too, as Retro now holding quite a long angle. Hopes actually able to plant the diffuser, and this is actually really good. Retro holds down this angle. They know that nobody is on that half of the map, so anyone who goes over to challenge the plant must cross Retro's sights. Retro gets one. Mort tries to run out the back and see if he could kill Capitao, but doesn't manage to find the frag, and now he is in a straight-up retake as flame bolts go down, but the crossbow is still out, and Hopes goes down. Retro is the only one left. He has such low health. Mort can overheal him too. He's got one stim pistol left if anything is needed as well. And this needs to be a headshot. Did they see each other? Retro is going to be downed right at the edge of that. And now Mort just needs to find the diffuser.
He's not going to have enough time.
Can he get there? I don't think he has enough time. Wow. All right.
He realizes
did not expect that to happen.
Yeah, so a great job on the retake, but all you need to do is stall them long enough to where they can't defuse, and that's all she wrote, and that's exactly what happened. And I like the fact that Retro pushed all the way into kitchen to challenge, that way not giving away the position. You know, he could have been outside of the delivery, you know, watching the diffuser from that angle, but the fact that he went into kitchen, you know, he knew that even if he lost his gunfight, perhaps he would waste more time with the defender not knowing where the diffuser was, and that's exactly what happened. So well played there by Reciprocity. Even though they weren't able to close it out in the gunfight arena, they were still able to take that W on the round. Let's have a look again at those kills, if you don't mind. You know, Nemesis seemingly tearing everybody up, and that would be the case. A very good kill spread. Can kind of doing a lot of work. Mark and Fox struggling. They both had a great map last map. Fox especially, he'll decide to bring the Blitz out, though. We'll see what they have in mind. Laxing on the fuse now.
And the fuse is something that we haven't seen in a very long time. So he has smoke grenades, so that's good. But a lot of the floors are destructible. That's also good. But for the most part, Fuse doesn't really see a lot of play in high-level play because it's very telegraphed, and it's also very unsafe. If the defense is on point with their healing, if they got their gaming headsets and all that, then they can usually pinpoint relatively where the fuse is coming from and potentially toss a C4 up and just get him before he can manage to to get those cluster charges out. On top of that, well, first of all, if you try to fuse a window, that's just instant death. That's so easily shot through. There are no bars like there are on floors to defend you. So windows are usually off limits. And so you go, okay, I'll fuse up from the second floor and through the floors. Well, most teams at this level put a lot of emphasis on holding the floor above where you're holding. So it'll be very hard for Laxing to actually get the proper space needed, but I think Reciprocity might be betting that Nemesis don't actually put all that much pressure on the second floor, and
What are you doing? Why are you
wow.
peeking a
Yeah, what is that
Blackbeard?
peek?
Yeah, Mort will go down. Easy kill for Fox A. Now, a little bit of damage got put down onto the Blackbeard's shield, so they knew he was there, but he's all the way in the back. Why are you peeking a Blackbeard? What are you doing? Here is the Cap Kid just around the door from there. And Reciprocity, kind of with the standard approach, will just be working into this little side room here towards the bar. And there it comes. Somebody else peeking Blackbeard, but this time he'll win it out, but he'll not be able to escape as he runs out of bullets. Mark will get the refrag onto Mizio. Fox A and that Blackbeard gone, though. Very interesting turn of events. But at close range versus Jaeger, that gun can do a lot of damage really fast. Hopes will find one onto Hayes. 2v4. Make that a 1v4 as Laxing will find one onto Can, the top fragger so far this round for Nemesis. And Laxing will also find the last one onto Buck. So Reciprocity will bring it back after a little bit of a slow start.
So I guess he just wanted to play fused for the AK. He didn't actually have to fuse anything, and he didn't even go to the second floor. So it wasn't even a situation where, oh, he wanted to fuse, but everyone kept challenging him and he just won the gunfights. No, he just stayed outside, played a window with the AK, and just got a bunch of kills. So they didn't really need the extra utility from fuse. But yeah, Reciprocity back on the board, bring it to 3-3 as we switch sides. And now for the defense. And we'll see if Reciprocity can continue this sort of like shallow mini comeback. I guess it's not a full comeback or anything like that, but they did start the map off to a rough start, and they have pulled it back.
Yes, they have, and I think that they're probably to the point now where they're stabilized a little bit, so we'll have to wait and see exactly if that is indeed the case. But here we go into round number 7. Reciprocity finally finding some footing after an extremely slow start to the round, winning 2 straight, down 3-1 at one point, down a map. So the best Reciprocity can do at this point in time is tie it up and get a point for themselves. 3 points is now off the table. Nemesis looking for their first win of the season, as they have already suffered through 2 ties. This would be the third should Reciprocity be able to win it back. And we will see a VIP and Theater for the first time here on Clubhouse right after the role swap as Reciprocity enters their defensive rounds.
Yeah, Penthouse and Theater sort of fell into popularity as a site after, specifically after bans were implemented, because playing a mirror in Theater looking into the Penthouse was a very strong position, and you could deny most plants that way. But even without a mirror, it looks like Reciprocity are deciding to go for this sort of play as well. So it's interesting to see what sorts of defenses they will have. They have a Maestro, which is pretty good for plant denial. And I also saw that in front of Bathroom, they put a sideways deployable shield that would force anyone to basically vault over it in order to get through the door. And so that'll impede the attacker's progress a little bit as well. But the main challenge is the fact that the main window in Penthouse, the double-sized window, is a very strong position for anyone to take, especially Blackbeard. So I think if Can takes position on that window, then Nemesis have a pretty decent advantage in that respect. We'll see if they end up going in that direction, however.
And that is most likely the plan. But actually, as I say that, onto the VIP balcony do a lot of Nemesis go. So they start opening up into VIP. Oh, and an Impact will not understand that there are 2 people right there. He'll impact the other window. He does jump out. He'll go for the flank. What? Oh, no, he's detected, but the Twitch will run right by. Fox A will get a kill. I'm sorry. The, not the Twitch, but the Dokkaebi. And so some crazy plays go back and forth, but it is a 1-for-1 trade. Vigil and Dokkaebi both off the board now. Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how Fox A got away with that for so long. It just unfortunately did not land the shots on him until after he already got a pick onto Hayes. Of course, that isn't either Can or Mort, so could have been worse for the side of Nemesis. That wasn't one of their top fraggers. However, they are going to miss some of the Dokkaebi calls, and that's a lot of utility out. Laxing gets another kill onto Buck, and in a sec, and another one onto Can. Mark gets one onto Mort. Now we're down to a 1v4 as Mizio is left in VIP and sandwiched on all directions. He gets a headshot onto Hopes. 1v3 now. He is Thermite. 5.56 XI is a pretty good gun, but as long as Reciprocity stays safe and play angles and just lock him into this room, they should be able to take this victory. Peeking around the corner, and Laxing gets the headshot. 3 kills for him at the end of the day.
Great job by Laxing, and it went from kind of a difficult to watch situation for Reciprocity where they were just kind of running around all over the place, not winning gunfights. Everything looked unorganized, and now it seems like they're in a spot where they're really comfortable. Those last few kills for Laxing there, he was in a very comfortable spot. There wasn't a lot of running around. There wasn't a lot of jerky mouse movements of any kind. He was relaxed. He held his angle. Everybody knew what their job was, what angle they should be covering. Nobody panicked. Whenever one of them went down, somebody was there to fill it in. And so that was really great, really well played, rather, by Reciprocity. And that's why they've been able to string 3 together now, putting them for their first lead so far here on Coastline as we enter round number 8. So, yes, Reciprocity able to successfully defend their first defensive attempt. They will stay upstairs this time, opting to go to hookah and billiards.
Yep, hookah billiards, a pretty popular site as well. And honestly, every site on Coastline is fairly defendable. And at this point, when Mira is not played, of course, she's not banned here, so that's a point to note. But when Mira is not played, then Penthouse is probably the least defendable site. But Reciprocity just won it, even though they didn't play Mira, so their defense is looking pretty strong so far. They were able to basically sandwich the attackers wherever they decide to go. In this case, it was VIP, and they just got the proper frags and kept everyone on the attackers locked inside that room and forced them to basically run out of options as to where they could go or where they could play. And that's part of what I was mentioning at the very beginning before we even got into this map, where Coastline is definitely a map where you have to play that way. On the attacking side or the defensive side, you need to get a bunch of angles and close in that way. You can't really play this map linearly.
Right, so here we go. As the beginning of the round, a lot of reworking being done to that hookah wall, making that standard rotation. Somebody hanging out behind the A-bomb side. It looks like there's a couple on the roam, and there's a little bit of a run out by the Doc. He'll get detected for just a second. Buck will hold that angle, but the Doc will run elsewhere onto the map, just slowing things down, making the attackers kind of watch their angles just in case there is some sort of run out. And the roaming Doc strategy, we've seen it come out for both of these teams. Nemesis having a little bit more success with that particular strategy, but Laxing, new to the Doc, will find and throw some bullets down onto the Blitz. The Blitz will push. He is not covered by any of his teammates, so he will hang out and wait for a drone to help him out as he proceeds to chase down the Doc. Meanwhile, the Doc will split, get out of there real quick, but here comes the drone. He'll stop finally over by the stairs. The drone will spot him out. He'll shoot the drone, but they know exactly where he is. He'll jump off the staircase. Right behind will be the Blitz with another drone. Not sure if that Doc was able to hit it. They will decide to regroup, or perhaps they see somebody over in Fountain, or not Fountain rather, but Pool Table. Blitz will push up to the wall, try and get some hip fire down, but no dice. As 1:30 now left, 5 people still up on both sides.
And that's a really good defensive spot right here, with the castle barricade preventing anyone from walking in, and the rotation hole directly next to it, allowing for them to play aggressively, but it still forces any attacker to vault over it. So they're just going to opt to waste the specific amount of time that they need to get, I think it's 13 melees onto the castle barricade in order to actually finally take it out. So a lot of time bought there, and that means Reciprocity, even though it's still 5-5, Reciprocity are in a pretty good position. They have a decent amount of plant denial left. Retro is playing downstairs. No one's trying to flush him out. He's covering default plant spot. And now Foxay trying to peek aggressively. This might be a little bit too aggressive, but he does get a smoke canister out, and that'll halt the attackers even longer and force them to push with less than 40 seconds left.
Yeah, a risky little peek there will not find anything on either side. Buck shooting shots. Can will finish Foxay, so that's a smoke gone. Only one canister deployed. Only a little bit of health remaining. Laxing will clean up Can, but the diffuser is going down. Hopes will find one. C4 will go out, and oh no, it'll TK Mark! Mort will find one on the Laxing, so 2 right back on the Reciprocity. The diffuser is not down, though. The diffuser plant did get stopped. Only 2 defenders left, though. 3 attackers, but time ticks away. They're going to have to find somebody fast. Buck will find one. He'll find 2, actually. in the closing seconds. And Buck will win it out here at the end for Nemesis after an unfortunate turn of events for Reciprocity. And that, my friends, will be a tie yet again.
It'll be yet another one. And one thing about that round was the communication for Reciprocity wasn't quite there. And I guess when you're playing this series for so long, it's probably easy to get out of the habit of playing sort of the more standard post-plants or late round scenarios. You know, I think this is maybe one of the only 2 or 3 rounds in the entire series that we've seen gone below 30 seconds left on the timer. So I think Reciprocity, they needed to play farther back. As soon as they got the pick on the diffuser and prevented the diffuse. And there was also a little bit of a miscommunication as Mark the Shark ended up pushing up, but the C4 from, I forgot who it was, but from the Valkyrie below killed him instead. So I think there might have just been a little bit of a miscomm where Mark didn't properly call out the fact that he was pushing forward and that he got the kill on whoever was defusing. So a couple of slip-ups here and there and mean that Reciprocity end up losing the round, but it seems like they decide that they just played it a little bit incorrectly. They will go with a very similar lineup with the same bomb site, and I think they can definitely do this. I don't think it was necessarily any problem with their setup, just how they played that late round.
The big Frenchman return, the duo for Reciprocity. 3 ACOGs in total on the side of Reciprocity. 2 of those MP5s, and of course, the Alda, the infamous Alda. A lot of destructive work getting done to the floors as before. This time they're taking extra amount of time to just clear out that floor, a default plant spot right there in pool coming out of aquarium. We'll see one just hanging out at the door there, waiting to see if he can spot anybody on the default camera. He'll see the shield going up probably, but the shield will swing into VIP balcony without interference. Laxi will withdraw back into kitchen as it looks like hookah balcony, rather, is going to be the point of contention. Can in upstairs looked like he dropped through the bathroom hatch. We'll also see some people poking at the door outside of what I believe is VIP. Oh, Hope's almost getting his head removed through a pre-fire through the window. Also, Castle getting hit at the outside of hookah. So about 40 seconds down, the attackers spread all throughout the outside of the map. A little bit of progress made upstairs for them as well. Still plenty of time as some bullets will go down at the toesies here of Buck. He'll just kind of peek in, hit, pull back, peek in, hit, pull back. And I think he said 13. I believe it's 12 hits total to remove that castle barricade. But Retro will find one onto Mort. I'm not sure where, but that will be the Thatcher gone nice and early. No Thatcher grenades having been gone or having gone out so far. Can in the luggage hall as his teammate will join him into aquarium. About half the round down, so Reciprocity need not do anything crazy as, you know, basically the time is on their side. Excuse me? Can with just a crazy shot through the softwall with the pistol will find poor Laxig's head. I'm surprised Laxig has nothing to comment on. I remember last time he was the one that got flicked on that window by the dock, which I believe was also Can. Maybe it was Mort. I can't remember.
That was Mort, yeah.
Yeah, either way, no response from him. He'll throw some more bullets down, but as the ADS, Hopes will get a very helpful kill back onto Can. The shield's so annoying to fight. Buck will find one, 3v3. Retro will find his second of the round, though, onto Hayes. And that will be a 3-2, but only a smidgen of help left on Doc. Mizio will see that castle. He'll get him down just shooting one bullet at a time, but will not be able to finish it off, so I think he will be able to get picked back up as Retro comes to his aid. He'll have to be careful, though. Make sure he stays behind that wall. The castle will get opened up. Shots going back and forth. Everybody taking damage. Buck will finish off Fox A, doing a lot of damage from that softwall in aquarium. Not moving much either, but none of Reciprocity is challenging him, and I don't blame them. About 10, 15 health between the two of them combined. So Nemesis just holding really tight angles. They will go to default spot. They will begin the plant. There's nobody underneath to stop them, although they do hear it. Retro is forced to peek out. Buck, easy clean up from the softwall. He sees the other one, and he'll clean that one up as well, because only one bullet apiece will be needed. And Nemesis winning 2 in a row, doing a great job on the attack upstairs here on Coastline.
Again, late in the round, Reciprocity, I think I forgot who it was, but while the revive was going off on the castle, someone, I think it was the smoke, peeked around the corner a little bit too aggressively, and I don't think he needed to do that. If he just held back, then, well, first of all, there was pretty much no possible way that the attackers were going to stop that revive. There was no way they were going to push up fast enough, and even if they did, then hanging back and holding an angle would be enough to stop them from doing that. So you had a 2v3 situation, or a 3v2 situation that didn't need to turn into a 2v2. And at that point, with the sheer lack of health that the rest of Reciprocity had, it was a very hard clutch to actually do, and Buck managed to clean it all up. So I think that was one of the big mistakes there by Reciprocity. But earlier on in the round, I think Reciprocity did play fairly well, and they got the refrags that they needed. And I just want to see a couple of each of these rounds. Reciprocity is only losing via a couple of small mistakes that could be easily fixed with maybe just a bit more communication or a little bit more patience.
Yeah, before, again, when Reciprocity were winning, we talked about it, that they were feeling, they looked to be more comfortable. They were less fidgety. There was less running back and forth, going crazy. They just need to play their speed, right? They opened up the entire series with a very aggressive round on border, doing runouts and peaks that was successful. And so far, since then, aggression from Reciprocity has not been the answer. I'd like to see some communication, and I'd like to see a little bit of, I don't know, more standard play, if you will, just to calm it down a little bit, Reciprocity, because you can win gunfights when you're in the position where you can refrag. You know, Retro's been doing a ton this time. Unfortunately, he's been in these 1vx situations, but we've seen Retro getting the opening kill after we've seen 2 or 3 Reciprocity members go down, laxing with the C4, but that will be way too late as the shield will sprint past through into the door, and complete top floor presence now from Nemesis.
Yeah, and this is kind of what you want to see, because anyone playing where Can is can easily prevent any sort of VIP pushes from the attack. And when you have a Thermite who really wants to get that VIP wall open, it can be very strong, but Can does get the first frag, going for a second through a very small crack between both of the doorways. Doesn't look like he will manage to get it, though, as everyone on the defense is trying to flank him. He is down to about 1 health. A breath from anyone will kill him, as Buck does manage to pick off Mark toward the other side of it. He is pushed into Penthouse already. Foxay takes out Can finally, but Hayes takes out Hopes. And now we're down to a 4v2 as 4v1 as Mort gets a headshot onto Foxay, and now it is up to Laxing to clutch. This is a pretty good gun, the 9x19 on the side of Laxing, but the plant goes down, and now all Nemesis need to do are hold angles. Laxing finds the first headshot, going for the second, he gets 2! Hayes goes down, we're down to a 2v1, pulls out the PMM, high damage per shot, he turns the wrong way, and Buck will be able to take him out. Nemesis clean up the round once again.
Man, Nemesis going up 3-1 early here on Coastline. Reciprocity looking fantastic, bringing it back 3 straight for them to a 4-3, taking their first lead of the map. And ever since then, Nemesis has just been winning nonstop, winning 3 of their own in a row. So it's been a back and forth groupings, but ever since the role swap has happened, Reciprocity not having as much fun here on defense after winning their first, and I don't believe winning any others. No, it was 3-3 at the half, so they did win that first one on VIP. They haven't won anything else. And let me just say, Can, he may have only gotten 1 kill that round, but Can was just going ballistic. He was not using the shield at all. He was ADS all over the place, but he was doing damage. He was getting work done with it. He wasn't able to finish him off, and finally they were able to finish him off, but that'll just put you on tilt, right? Fighting a shield who's just ADS, and you just cannot hit that headshot. You got to hit that headshot, and it's just not happening for you. And he takes one down, and maybe you get him down he's really weak, and he'll turn around and pop somebody, in this case, Foxay in the head. It's just a frustrating experience for any team at any level. So that was a very good job by him, even though he only managed to get 1 kill. there, and Buck came in with the cleanup and a great angle on that door when it was down to a 2v1. A valiant effort also by Laxing at that 4v1. He found 2, wasn't able to finish off the other 2, though. So here we go into what is match point now for Nemesis. Reciprocity will need to win 2 just to bring it into overtime. Otherwise, Nemesis could be handing Reciprocity their first defeat so far in Season 4.
And it looks like it's very possible, especially considering that Nemesis has been playing pretty well on their attacks. And now, even though Reciprocity won the first couple, Nemesis just took a bunch back into their favor, and I think, again, a lot of that comes down to their aggressive style of play that just sort of catches Reciprocity off guard, especially considering Reciprocity, they're playing Hopes, which is the coach, instead of Skies. So unfortunately for them, they don't have their full roster, they don't have their full fragging power, and the sort of Skies Laxing combo that everyone has come to know and love. Meanwhile, Nemesis, again, just been hitting their shots over and over and over again, and Mort has been huge for that side, and so has Can, more so on this map, as Can bringing up the Blitz once again. C4 goes off, and it will kill Can. He goes down, and that is a pretty good start for the side of Reciprocity.
That killing Can, who has just been a thorn in Reciprocity's side, is such a fantastic first move, 30 seconds into the round. And everybody kind of takes a deep breath at that point because Can has just been punishing so hard. So he'll get a frowny face returned by a smiling face by Laxing. And so much time now for Reciprocity to work with this numbers advantage. They're just not going to take any unnecessary risks. They're all just going to kind of pile back, be near sight, make sure that they have the ability to refrag at any time if necessary. You'll see Jaeger here kind of overextended. He's not going to go too far from sight, but he wants to see over towards VIP if there's any movement at VIP or the hallway, which there soon will be. He will rotate back down to main stairs as we see a one or perhaps more jump down off the balcony. I'm not sure if Retro heard it, but perhaps he might have got a call out off a camera or something along those lines. He's just peeking around the corner. Mark will find one, though, onto Mort. Jaeger just a stone's throw away. Mizio will find a refrag onto Foxe. He'll find 2, 1 onto Mark as well. It's now tie ball game, but a turn from the corner and some missed shots, but no, Retro will finally finish it, but not before losing most of his life. And looks like right before he was able to finish that kill, Buck will get 1 as well. He'll get 2 now. Hopes with the refrag. It's a 1v1. Mizio will have half of his health after hitting the Capkin trap. Hopes with all of his health, but can the sub pull it off in the 1v1? Yeah, C4 will go out, and he'll try to shoot it, but Hopes will connect, blowing him up. Fantastic job. And Reciprocity will stop the bleeding after losing 3 straight and bring it to 6-5. They'll still have to battle Nemesis's match point 1 more round to bring it into OT, though.
Yep, and forcing OT is all they'll be able to do if they win this round as well. So on top of that, in order to take the map back in their favor, they need to win another, what's essentially a best of 3. So they would need to win 2 rounds in overtime, but looks like we're heading back down to Kitchen and Service as our next defensive site. And Reciprocity hovering over Alibi. We'll see if that ends up sticking. But it looks like the lineup for the most part from Reciprocity is based around fragging. You got Alibi, Capkin, and Jaeger, all really good guns, and Jaeger especially has his ADSs, but Alibi specifically doesn't really have great utility. It's just her gun is has very low recoil, fires very quickly. It's a headshot machine, and if anyone can rock it, it's definitely Foxe. And now Doc actually 6th picked, as Hopes will be taking that one. So Hopes not really one of the people we've been seeing stepping up in terms of the fragging power, but maybe it's because he just hasn't really been playing some of these ACOG ops on defense.
So that we'll have to wait and see. And here we are again, Nemesis match point. They had a fantastic game so far today. It's been neck to neck. Reciprocity on this second map has been down several rounds a couple of times, but have been able to drag themselves back. Laxing crossing through the map, playing Capcan again. This operator lineup seems atypical for Reciprocity. I'm not sure why at the, so close to being defeated in their first loss of the entire season, why they managed to mix it up like this. And they also haven't repeated anything. I'm not sure if they're trying to find the right combination. But, you got Echo in play. You've got Maestro in play. We haven't been seeing much of that from Reciprocity with that plant denial, because just like on the very last one, the plant was
was down, etc., etc. So I'm not sure why these particular operators, but no one can say for sure. But here we go. What could be the final match? If not, we will go into the second overtime of this 2-map series, as far as you could possibly go. That will remain to be seen. About 40 seconds off the board. A little bit of map presence for Nemesis as the roof control and first floor control are coming in. A little bit of a knock on that window, and an angle will be held by Laxi. I'm not sure if they'll repeat. No, he'll go back up to the roof. So not a lot going on here as the minutes tick by, but still plenty of time left to play for Nemesis.
Still 2 minutes left on the clock, so they don't have to rush too much right now. Just trying to get as many angles as possible, and now Nemesis have been starting to slow down their game a little bit and playing angles a little bit more. Granted, this is still much faster than games that we normally see, much more aggressive as well, but they are trying to make sure that they join each other out and have potential refrags if anything were to go wrong on any side. And now we have a couple of rotations covered over on the second floor. It's actually a pretty strong position that can take out anyone who's rotating around on the outside of kitchen, but so far no site progress has been made. 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. Still plenty of time, but I would still like to see a bit more map control over on the side of Nemesis for being this far in the round, especially considering if you look at Reciprocity, they're posted up in fairly aggressive spots, making sure that they deny angles before Nemesis really get a chance to react.
Yes, Hope will open it up, though, on to Mort. So Reciprocity staying alive so far. Only a minute left, which is good if you're the defense to have wasted 2 minutes and have Nemesis or your opponent rather being a man down. We'll see the Jackal also low. So Fox A will find one. KK will trade it back. KK doing great all day, but is it too late now as the seconds tick away, being a man down? That will have to wait. Well, or we will have to wait, rather, to see if something else plays out. Can will be looking around this middle atrium, trying to see if he can find somebody. Meanwhile, the thermite on the castle window will go off. Get it open however you can, and when you're running out of time, it is certainly a lot quicker than punching it. Mizio will see one behind the bomb. They'll trade shots back and forth. Hayes will get one on the Laxing. 3v3, so the man count is gone. Hayes will find two, rather, so Mark will get stripped out. Fox A will refrag. Can will find his second of the round, 2v1, and Nemesis, can they close it out? Now Retro will get some damage down. He'll find one in bathroom. No, he'll drop him, but Mizio will kill him, and Reciprocity will go down for the first time here in Season 4.
And Nemesis get a clean 2-0 on the board. So far, they have not had one yet, but it seems like that long extended break we took over the winter paid off, and they were able to get a bunch of extra practice in. And again, Mort fragging out